Hello again, and welcome to Football Manager Roleplay, a project where we create a player using the FM pregame editor, give him the potential ability of 200, and see if he will become the greatest American footballer ever. We'll simply watch the progression of this player, Henry Marshall, from the age of 15 to hopefully his eventual retirement. This is a role building exercise where Football Manager provides the events and we build a story around those events. Let's take a look at Henry Marshall's current slide. Our slide was unchanged from the previous episode, and we are now in the off-season of late July 2026. Henry has been placed on loan, but is coming off a great appearance and a friendly representing the senior Liverpool squad. Will Henry stay with Liverpool this season, or is he destined to be loaned out again? Let's move forward. And we are back. Incidentally, if you hear a cat in the background going meow, that cat's name is Malcolm. So say hello to Malcolm if you hear him. We are now up to August 24th, 2026, and we will give you an idea what Henry's been up to. So there's some news that isn't here. The Liverpool under-21s did go to a lower league game against Braintree, and they won there 2-1, but Marshall was not named to the team selection. And our first item of action is that Zidane has announced the team numbers for Liverpool, and there's Henry Marshall right there. Henry Marshall is named number 34, so the new management at Liverpool hasn't forgotten him. His youth teammate Russell John, he gets assigned number 21, and we'll go ahead and close that. The first game that was played by Henry, this was a youth game against, on the 25th, he would play with the under-21 squad at Cheltenham. We'll get to that friendly match right here. It's going to be a little, they just need places that you can just go to immediately. Yep, here it is, the location against Cheltenham. This was the first game of the year. It was a 1-0 friendly. You can see it right here. Henry Marshall, he was booked in the 15th minute of that game. It's a 1-0 win against a League Two team. Kenny Pierman, he got a goal in that game. Marshall, as you can see up here, he finishes with a 6.6 rating. We'll take a look at the player statistics here for the under Liverpools. There's Henry with his yellow card. Henry's just happy to be in England and playing some football now. He's still waiting on that loan info, and he didn't have to wait long. On July 28th, Henry Marshall was removed from loan status. So at this point, he was thinking that there would be another season with the under-21s. And he was named, trying to get through, you'll be seeing the black screen because trying to not navigate between the main club and the under-21 club. It's just a nightmare. Next game up was a club against, it was a game against Galatasaray. And Henry was invited to that game. He was allowed to come to that game and perform in it. And this is a 3-1 victory by the main club. It's a 3-1 win. That's really under the main club, but frankly, they sent a lot of youth players to Turkey to see what they could do for Liverpool. Marshall, how well did he do? He finished with a 6.5 performing against the Turks. We'll see him right here. Scroll down. He just flew right by us there. But I trust you. He is there. There he is. 6.5 rating, and he needs a little more, but a bit more punch. But his passing is good. He missed some tackles. Didn't really create a whole lot of chances for his team. There you go, right there. There's a 6.5 result, and he would also end up playing. Not just for representing Liverpool at Galatasaray. The Community Shield game would take place on August the 1st versus Man City. The Community Shield, if you don't know, It's where the winners of the FA Cup and the league championship from the previous season come and face each other. Liverpool had won the previous two cups, and this was going to be placing in Wembley Stadium. Wembley ready capacity crowd 90,000 expected in that game, and guess what? They won the Shield by a score of 3-2. It is the third straight win for Liverpool, and that's the most times in a row unbeaten, since Everton went unbeaten at Community Shield matches from 1984 through 1987. After all this waiting, Henry Marshall not only plays in a game for Liverpool, but he plays for Liverpool at Wembley in front of 90,000. But unfortunately, it was not a performance for the ages. He finishes here with a 5.8 rating. The bottom rock wasn't the worst finish for anybody. No, Dio Calais 5.5. He was the second worst performer in the entire match. Here is his record in that. He felt after the game, he felt that the pitch at Wembley just drained all his energy, and he found it was a real struggle to perform there, and it reflected in his passing. And he had many opportunities to set someone up, and he just, didn't look good at it. Let's see if we can go back over here. Look at the other stats here on the Liverpool side. There are expected assists. Henry Marshall 0.2 behind Timber, but he couldn't make anything happen there. He played the entire game. He was almost too exhausted by the end of the cheer. You have other players here who made their debut. Let's see. There is Lucas, is that how it's pronounced? Lucas Almeida de Souza. He made his debut for Liverpool on the big stage. Also, Russell John, his youth teammate, also making a debut on the big stage. Now, at this point in the year, it was clear that Marshall was either going to be with the under-21s or he was going to be loaned out. Now, he wasn't on the main roster for Liverpool's regular season 3-2 home opening loss against Wolverhampton on August 9th, so he braced himself for having to play for the academy teams again. Let's take a look here at the under-21 Premier Division 1, which is where I expect Henry to be playing at least part of the season, if not all. There are 14 under-21 teams here. The bottom two are relegated to the under-21 Premier Division 2. They will play 26 games in the under-21 season. If I understand the rules correctly, Henry has now aged out of the under-18s, so he is not available to be loaned to them. You'll see the black screen a few more times. The first game was August 17th, the first game of the youth season, and that game would be against Chelsea. And once again, we have to get to that game, go through the back door, etc., etc. Game against Chelsea here. That game was a 1-1 draw. And Henry and Marshall, he had a decent 6.8 rating. Let's see. There's Chelsea. Here's all the top performers. It was primarily on the strength of his passing, as you can see down here under the progressive passes stats. Here is his game statistics. 96% passing. Pretty good. 2 out of 3 for tackles. He didn't really have any key passes in that game. It was certainly good enough for a 6.8. Notice, and if you furthermore, let's see if we can take a look at what his status is among his teammates here. Liverpool under 21. There's the under 121 squad. He is the only guy who has a static of future prospect. As you can see, expects to break into the first team in the coming years, but understands his time. It's actually Bobby Clark, He is a fringe player. Fringe player, I was wrong. Fringe player means he expects to be given the occasional opportunity to come to first team and impress. He is the only player on the under 21s who's a friendly player. So could we actually start seeing him in actual Liverpool games? Let's go to the next game on August the 20th for the under 21s. That game is against Luton. Get back out of this one here. Luton under 21s. Liverpool wins that game 2-0. Marshall has a good 7-0 match rating, 8 progressive passes. I mean, he didn't win his aerial chances, but he was certainly good at passing. He was certainly good at keeping the ball moving. There was a 0 in aerial struggles. And the clean sheet from Liverpool's defensive unit, he has to be given some credit for that. You won't see it on the screen. It was sort of in the day-by-day calendar summary. But Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia has made a $95 million offer to take Mohamed Salah in his last season at Liverpool. The question is, will Zidane let him go? I'm going to try to take us next to the Merseyside Derby. Go here, social feed. See if we can find that one. All kinds of things. There's the Wolves clash. They lost that one 3-2. Fulham, I believe that game was a win, 3-0 win. Salah was stellar on that. Burnley, they tied at Burnley. And there it is. Liverpool versus Everton in the Derby. And they triumphed in that. 3-2. 3-2 victory, Liverpool over Everton. After 4 games, Liverpool is in 4th place. They are 5 points behind Arsenal. Let's pick back up on August 24th. We're actually at Monday, August the 24th, 2026. And what we want to do is talk about this game at Manchester United. It's the Manchester United under 21 team. This was a 2-1 win on the road. As you can see, there are a lot of bookings here for Manchester United, along with 1 injury. It was a tight game, but Liverpool held the ball for most of that contest. And Marshall's passing was pretty crappy, but he did go and pick up a 6.8 rating. I can have item here. Yep, 6.8 rating. There's the player statistics here for Marshall. There he is again. All right, there's passing. I said his passing was indeed pretty crappy, but he was 6 for 8 in tackles. He just really went out there here. 75% of his tackles, and did a good job. Manchester United had a lot of corners. They were very aggressive, but Liverpool had 3 points on that one. 2 days later, on August 26th, Henry was called in to meet Zinedine Zidane, the new manager at Liverpool. Zidane stood up, shook Henry's hand, and said, "Hello, my English is not very good. My translator will help me." He mentioned he had taken a general course at the University of Limoges, but they didn't teach English there, he said. He reminded Henry of his horrible performance at the Community Shield. He said, through the translator, "Well, 19 years old is a lot to expect a great performance, but I think it's good to be humbled by circumstances. I've been humbled 100 times, and more recently than you think." He told Henry he had been watching some film of Henry's under 21 games. He told Henry, quote, "You're on the border. Sunderland wanted you very badly, I was told. But after I saw these films, I said he's too good for Sunderland. Now it's a new season, I might try new things. So if I call you, don't be surprised by it." He also mentioned Henry's car. "They showed me your car so I could see your self-confidence." I said, "He drives that jolly?" I mean, they said that Liverpool youth players aren't allowed to have nice cars, but I see in maybe a year you'll have a nice car. I'll bet it'll be a year, because it will not take long, but you aren't ready for Liverpool, not just yet. But I know that this faith the club has in you will be justified, and you'll be laughing at how long you had to wait when you were 4. Now, Henry mentioned he played under Wilfried Nancy in Atlanta, who was, also had some familiarity with the French language. And Zidane said, hopefully his English was better than mine. Henry came away from the meeting feeling that Zidane understood him, English or no English. Clearly, he asked Henry for some more patience, and Henry was willing to give it. And now, let's look at Henry's favorite people. Personal details. There you go. He's at 18, along with Wilfried Nancy as well. So, that thing happened. Zidane clearly made an impression. Let's go on to a couple of other games. There was a game for the under 29s, the under 21s at This was a home game at Watford. And that game ended right here, which you can see, 2-1. 2-1 victory in favor of Liverpool by Henry Marshall. Marshall has a 6-7 here. Ben Bruce scored in the 11th minute to take the lead, but Watford had a couple of injuries after that, as you can see. And Henry was a little reckless here in this game. Look at the player statistics, and he had 3 fouls. He was lucky not to get a yellow card. His passing is also a bit poor. Let's see, right here, where's this line? Right here. Now, let's go on to September 1st and on to a Papa John's Trophy game against League Two's Carlisle United. Now, go ahead and see if you can find Carlisle United. Let me look at the team. That's so weird to try to navigate this. Yes, here is Carlisle United. The EFL Trophy Tournament invites teams from League One and League Two, along with the selected under 21 teams in the Championship and the Premier League. And let's show you Liverpool's group in the EFL tournament. Now, Liverpool under 21 only play 3 games in this division, and the top 2 teams go to the second round. But their first game was at Carlisle. And what was the result of that game? Try that one. Let me try this one. It was a frustrating 1-0 loss. Ronnie Stetter's goal in the 5th minute for Carlisle was never answered. And honestly, this was a game that Liverpool, should have walked away with. They had clear possession. They won more tackles. Rather, they actually won fewer tackles and actually had less possession. So I don't know about that. Although they certainly led in XG. How well did Henry do in this game? Henry had a 6.9. And if we look at his player statistics, here he is. He had an injury in the 57th minute. Minor injury took him off, and maybe he could have had more if he had played longer. There will be 2 more games with their group. And let's stop here at September 2nd. Henry Marshall gets to play in the Community Shield game, but he doesn't do very well. And now that he's not on loan status, he's realizing that he'll be playing with the Liverpool's under-21 squad. Manager Zinedine Zidane of Liverpool, however, calls him in for a pep talk. Will Henry ever get to drive that nice car? If you managed a wee bit of enjoyment out of what you saw or heard, please hit the like or subscribe button. Until next time,